The idea of surviving a zombie apocalypse has fascinated storytellers, gamers, and amateur survivalists for decades. Among the many questions raised in this grim thought experiment, one stands out. Could an apartment building realistically serve as a viable shelter? At first glance, apartments appear to be natural fortresses, elevated, defensible, and resource-rich. Yet the truth is far more complicated. To answer this, we must examine both the strengths and weaknesses of apartment survival, and how outcomes differ between groups of survivors and those who endure alone. When the outbreak begins, apartments initially appear to offer critical advantages. The first and most obvious is vertical distance. Upper floors create a natural barrier between survivors and the chaos below. Classic slow-moving zombies, the George Romero type rather than Olympic sprinters, are notoriously poor climbers. By blocking or destroying stairwells, survivors can create choke points that funnel attackers into narrow passages. This transforms a fragile residential building into a defensible position reminiscent of medieval towers, where defenders concentrate force at a single bottleneck. Ironically, the very staircases that residents once cursed when elevators broke down now become priceless defensive assets. Balconies and rooftops provide additional utility. Though they cannot replace farmland, they allow rainwater collection and limited gardening. A rooftop tomato plant or patch of herbs may not sustain a group, but psychologically, greenery matters. Small gardens signal life continuing in the midst of death. Balconies also serve as observation posts and communication platforms, whether signaling allies with light or, in less practical moments, shouting Monty Python insults at the undead below. Rooftops expand these possibilities further, offering both a strategic vantage point and, in emergencies, a last-ditch escape route. Structural design also favors defense. Unlike houses with multiple points of entry, most apartment buildings have only a few doors or garages to secure. Barricading these reduces vulnerabilities. Narrow hallways and stairwells funnel intruders into manageable streams. Even hostile humans, who are often more dangerous than zombies, struggle to storm fortified corridors. Compared with suburban homes that can be breached from every direction, apartments excel at channeling threats. Another often overlooked strength is the abundance of units. Every locked door becomes a potential treasure chest. Residents may have left behind canned goods, batteries, flashlights, or medical supplies. While some doors conceal nothing but corpses and bathrobes, others hide stockpiles of bottled water or forgotten medicine cabinets. This multiplicity of caches greatly increases survival chances in the early days, when looting is most productive. The benefits expand when survivors form small groups. 4 to 6 people represent an optimal balance. This number allows efficient division of labor. One person on watch, another cooking or rationing, a third reinforcing defenses, and perhaps a pair scavenging nearby buildings. Unlike the solitary survivor who must juggle all tasks alone, groups can rotate duties and preserve energy. Skill diversity also matters. Even one individual with medical or technical knowledge dramatically increases the group's resilience. And perhaps most importantly, groups sustain morale. Shared meals, jokes, and arguments, even petty ones about canned peaches, maintain social cohesion and provide relief from psychological stress. Humans are social creatures, and companionship blunts the edge of despair. Location within a city also confers short-term advantage. Urban areas, though dangerous, contain concentrated resources. Pharmacies, hardware stores, and supermarkets lie within walking distance. If survivors act quickly, they can stockpile supplies before chaos peaks. This is a paradox. The very density that turns cities into zombie epicenters also offers unmatched scavenging opportunities in the early days. Supply runs are undeniably risky, but in the short term, no environment yields more. Apartments further encourage improvisation. Sheets can be tied into ropes, extension cords rigged into pulleys, and with enough courage or recklessness, makeshift zip lines can connect neighboring buildings. These contraptions may not meet engineering standards, but survival often favors creativity over safety. Every improvised ladder or pulley buys options, and in an apocalypse, options equal life. Finally, we must not dismiss the comforts of normality. Beds, working toilets, familiar ceilings, and even couches play a critical role in psychological survival. In disasters, normality cues, mundane objects that signal continuity, anchor mental health. In the midst of groaning halls and burning streets, the simple act of lying in a familiar bed can preserve sanity. Apartments, unlike bare shelters, offer these stabilizers. Yet every strength carries a shadow. Apartments are not farms, and once cupboards are empty, hunger sets in. Rooftop gardens supply garnish, not sustenance. The math is unforgiving. Food runs out, and survivors must leave. Stairwell destruction, so effective defensively, creates entrapment. When hordes gather below, escape routes vanish. Fire compounds the risk. Apartments burn easily. One cooking accident or electrical spark can engulf entire floors. Unlike houses with multiple exits, apartments often leave only smoke-filled hallways or desperate leaps from balconies. Survivors who endure months of infection may perish in minutes from flames. Noise and light also betray residents. Arguments, slammed doors, or generators echo through thin drywall, drawing both zombies and hostile survivors. Candles or flashlights become neon signs in a darkened city. Comfort thus transforms into liability. Even stealth-conscious groups struggle. 6 people cannot match the silence of one. Structural fragility magnifies these dangers. Many budget apartments use hollow core doors, drywall, and particle board. Against persistent force, whether from zombies pounding in unison or raiders with crowbars, these barriers crumble. Apartments are not castles. At best, they delay intrusion. Sanitation and biohazards introduce further hazards. Zombies do not clean hallways. Corpses rot, spreading stench through ventilation. Waste disposal becomes urgent once plumbing fails. In groups, unpleasant duties can be rotated. Alone, the survivor bears constant responsibility, adding both risk and psychological strain. Medical emergencies expose another weakness. In ordinary life, a broken arm or infection means inconvenience. In an apartment fortress, it can be fatal. Without hospitals, minor injuries escalate. Even worse, illness triggers paranoia. A cough or fever may lead to exile, conflict, or preemptive violence within groups. Ironically, suspicion of infection can destroy cohesion faster than actual zombies. Group living, though beneficial, is not free of flaws. Cramped quarters and rationing fuel disputes. Leadership struggles, resource hoarding, or personality clashes escalate under pressure. In extreme cases, group implosion becomes deadlier than external threats. Conversely, solitary survivors avoid interpersonal drama but suffer isolation. Loneliness corrodes morale, decision-making, and willpower. Groans through walls, creaks in halls, and endless silence become unbearable when unshared. Both paths, group and solo, carry hidden dangers. Urban density, once an asset, soon becomes overwhelming liability. Cities fall first. Population density translates directly into zombie density. Even if apartments withstand initial waves, the horde outside only grows. One breach, through a broken door, shattered window, or collapsed wall, turns fortress into tomb. Survivors are always a single unlucky event away from annihilation. Utility failure finalizes the decline. Water stops flowing, lights extinguish, gas systems fail. The illusion of normality collapses. Survivors live in darkness, eat cold food, and improvise toilets. Supply runs lengthen as nearby stores are emptied, demanding greater risk for smaller rewards. Physical exhaustion compounds this. Carrying supplies up multiple flights, reinforcing barricades, and constant vigilance wear down even strong survivors. Alone, fatigue multiplies. With no one to share burdens, exhaustion leads to mistakes, and mistakes are fatal. Comparing group and solo survival underscores these trade-offs. Groups excel early. With shared labor, diverse skills, and social support, they stabilize chaos, defend effectively, and scavenge efficiently. Short-term, their prospects rate 7 out of 10. Yet long-term, resource strain, conflict, and structural fragility drag ratings to 4 out of 10. Solitary survivors, by contrast, operate at 4 out of 10 initially, stealthy and resource-efficient but vulnerable to accidents and fatigue. Over time, isolation erodes resilience, dropping ratings to 2 out of 10. Both approaches, though distinct, converge on the same reality. Apartments are temporary sanctuaries, not permanent havens. This analysis reveals broader survival lessons. First, fortification is not sustainability. A barricaded space buys time, but without renewable resources, it becomes a cage. Survivors must treat apartments as staging grounds, not endgame shelters. Second, morale equals survival. Comforts such as beds and locked doors matter as much as food. They anchor sanity, delaying collapse. Third, flexibility outlasts rigidity. Survivors who improvise ropes, pulleys, and zip lines thrive longer than those who rely solely on static barricades. Finally, urban abundance masks fragility. Cities promise immediate resources but conceal inevitable collapse. Density fuels both supply and danger, ensuring no apartment remains safe indefinitely. The verdict then is clear. Apartments are good in a zombie apocalypse, conditionally and temporarily. In the first weeks, they shine. They provide defensible positions, abundant loot, and vital comforts. Groups of 4 to 6 can transform them into strongholds that stabilize survival during chaos. Individuals can exploit them for stealth and extended rations. But over months, all advantages erode. Supplies vanish, utilities fail, defenses crack, and psychological strain accumulates. Survivors who cling to apartments indefinitely risk transforming their sanctuary into a tomb. Ratings reflect this duality. Groups 7 out of 10 short-term, 4 out of 10 long-term. Individuals 4 out of 10 short-term, 2 out of 10 long-term. The conclusion is sobering. Apartments are lifeboats, not destinations. They delay the inevitable but cannot prevent it. True survival demands adaptation beyond their walls. In many ways, the apartment symbolizes humanity's paradox. Built for dense urban life, it becomes both sanctuary and prison in collapse. Its walls shield against chaos but confine against sustainability. Its comforts preserve morale but amplify risks. For groups, it offers cohesion yet invites conflict. For individuals, it grants stealth yet breeds despair. Ultimately, the lesson is not about bricks and mortar, but about adaptability. Survivors must learn when to occupy, when to abandon, and when to evolve. Thus, the final word is simple. Apartments are excellent temporary shelters in a zombie apocalypse, but they are never permanent solutions. The walls that protect you today will trap you tomorrow. The real challenge lies not in barricading a door, but in knowing when to walk away from it.